The Goal Circle is recorded on the land of the Yagara and Turrbal people, and we acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia. We recognise their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture, and we pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Welcome to The Goal Circle, Australia's #1 netball podcast. I'm your host, Nick Bleeker, and with me, now that we're free, Luke Top.
Hello.
And on the phone and still in quarantine, Abby McCulloch.
Hi.
Hey.
How you doing, Abs? This is what week? I don't know. It's week X. Hey, you really can't put a number on it.
Seven, end of week 7, I think.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, surviving. I'm one of the lucky ones. I can't take my getting an income, whereas there's a lot of other people out there struggling. So I can't complain too much.
Yeah. Have you actually? Question: are you running like netball drills, like online netball drills and stuff like that for any like of your coaching and all that sort of stuff?
We are a little bit online. So we had just started this year some like full term programs. So they were 10 weeks long. You'd come along, get an hour and a half session once a week, and like they were going gangbusters. And then bang, we had to lock down obviously for this term. So we gave those that had signed up like the option of either getting their refund or going to a more of an online format. So majority hung around for that, which was nice. And then the other part is just my working from home with school, which is also just netball related anyway, because I'm head of netball at Westfield Sports High School, and I'll say hello to the girls because they did listen to the podcast not long ago. And I'm like, make sure you give us a shout out. So so I'm just.
What did they think of it? Because how old are they? Should they be listening?
Probably not, but these are my older ones. These are my ones in the top team, my open team. But they said that I sounded scripted, and I was like, "What?
Oh, really?
Wow, you've got to swear
I
more."
know, how critical, but you live and you learn.
Wow,
I took it on board.
That's some like brutal feedback from young women. That's hilarious.
Lucky I like them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're on the bench this year.
Yeah, it's going to say, guess who's not getting a run this season? Sally? Yeah, it sucks, huh? Poor Sally's never going to develop beyond getting on the bench.
So, yeah, I'm really lucky. All I'm doing is pretty much netball-related stuff. So, pretty much comes pretty easy to me, which is good.
That's unreal. That's awesome. Look, as long as you're keeping yourself preoccupied and keeping yourself healthy.
Who would have ever imagined this? I don't think anyone.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't want to go into it too much because we have a lot of positive. We have a lot of positive things to talk about.
And like half the country's freaking locked down. Let's get out of it.
You're listening, and you know what? You don't want to hear about this shit. You don't want to hear about the good stuff, which is netball, and the only good thing.
You just want to subscribe to Abby McCulloch's foot in OnlyFans.
Still
a thing. So.
It should be a thing, and if I start getting desperate and bored, something that's going to happen, I think.
Oh my god!
I don't really want to think about Abby's feet. Okay, so now we've got through the 3-tier program today. So what we want to do is we're going to start with the announcement earlier in the week that Netball Australia have put in. It's not a bid, but kind of like a hey, accept our fucking sport into the Olympics. So for Brisbane 2032. Good lord, that 2032 is so close,
mate. It is. Okay, so it'll be Junior and I. And Emmy. So Emmy and I are going to convert to New Zealand citizenship, and then we'll play in the mixed team in Brisbane 2032.
Wow, this is a huge announcement.
It is. So she's going to play goal attack, and I'm going to play wing attack, and I'm just going to yeet it to Junior because really...
Junior.
Yeah.
What, 7'2"? Who's... Unless... Even Liz Cambridge, she's 6'8", so it's going to be...
Yeah. This is huge. What am I supposed to be doing then? Y'all didn't put me on this fucking team. I don't know. You can just...
I know. You've organised all this stuff to go to the Olympics without us.
Sorry.
Yeah, what the fuck? And so...
How rude.
Mate, I'm going to be like 52 by the time that comes around.
So
they'll be like, Luke is 50?
So are you going to be coached by like robotic Nolene Tarua or something like
yes, yes. We're just gonna like spend some time with her and just download everything onto an app of some sort, and we'll just have an iPhone by the court. Although by that time it'll be something like some sort of Google Glass situation.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm excited to see I don't know what kind of ferns that you would be, the silver ferns of something, or I don't know, mixed ferns or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, so Netball Australia announced the mixed ferns to Australia's. So Netball Australia's obviously put in an interest, and it was backed worldwide as well, which I thought was a really cool little thing. Like a lot of the netball associations and teams and stuff really got on board. And so they basically put their hand up for the IOC to recognise netball as an Olympic sport. And I have a sneaky suspicion that it will be, which is excellent, mainly because there are sports in the Olympics that, I mean, I'm a fan of, but I'm like, why is this in the Olympics? Like skateboarding, which also was fucking awesome at the Olympics, I'm not going to lie. Feels pretty good to win the gold. So
really?
Skateboarding rules. Anyway, that's beside the point. At the end of the day, this could potentially be an amazing development for the sport.
Don't they want the AFLs in too? Aren't they talking, is it cricket?
It's cricket. No, it was cricket.
Cricket.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got to stop the cricket.
I don't know how the fuck the cricket's going to work, to be honest. So it's going to be like
Brisbane,
T5. You get 5 overs
that
only.
Place, because whenever the cricket's on, I don't go anywhere near.
Yeah, don't go near the Gabba.
That's like East Brisbane, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, that one.
The Gabba.
I don't know.
There's like literally 2 stadiums in.
Well, the Suncorp one I know. I went to a Coldplay concert.
So did I. Yeah, I went to. I think they're the same one. Yeah. Anyway, that's beside the point. Look. So
I've only been there once.
It's fine. It's a perfectly fine stadium.
I don't do the other sports with the angry men. I don't do it.
Yeah, no one does. They're kind of boring. So yeah, again, a huge development. It's very, very exciting. I think we've always spoken about when the Com Games come around. It's like, where's netball? Why is netball not in the Olympics? And this is a huge step, and I think it works perfectly considering Brisbane's the host city for 2032. Like Australia is one of the netball capitals in the world, and this is a really, really good start. I do wonder if, I don't think they will, but I wonder if it's kind of a split sort of thing, where like, so with like the Women's World Cup for soccer, they're splitting it between New Zealand and Australia. So I wonder if it's like, if you want, I don't know. Anyway, it's beside the point. Very interesting development. Big news that came out during the week, and it's really exciting to see that netball.
And I will say, the one thing that I am loving in this bid is that men's netball is included, and they want to put it into the Olympics as a dual gender sport.
Yeah.
And literally the next day, Netball Queensland were like, entries open for an M League. So
I did see that.
Expect you to play.
What? No, not me.
Yes, you're going to play M League, and then I'm like, maybe I should play.
Oh, look at him. He's like this. Oh, look, put Nick in, but also maybe I'll do it as well.
Well, no, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because
I'm 34. I've still got time. I could play like one season, but I want. Maybe we're going to have to relocate Junior and have him, because like he's going to win it for me.
I can feed you.
Can you imagine feeding Junior?
Yeah. Easy.
Oh, but easy. I'd have like 120 Nissan net points feeding him.
I feel like you'd get sent off for flopping though.
Oh, we haven't talked about that. Oh my God, Abs, you got to hear.
No, yeah. So okay, full disclosure. So Luke and I think
we talked about it last week. Us playing.
But we obviously played against one another, and Luke,
Nick's real dirty, and he flops.
Fuck off! No, I don't.
You
Are
do.
You serious?
You flopped at me.
Okay,
he was selling
it.
He flopped so bad, and he was selling it. And I'm like, you could have bought a house with that flop. You could have bought a house in Sydney on the fucking water with that flop that you just pulled. No. Anyway, the umpire was like, because it's like, here we go. Anyway, and then at me for giving him crap, and then it wasn't your fault. And then literally the next play, he sort of like nudged me a bit. Anyway, I literally flew through the air. I like jumped, landed on the ground. Like did a combat roll.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, legit. Yeah. And the umpire just stood there with the like mouth open, just going, what?
Yeah, because I turned around and I actually thought that I'd knocked you down. I was like, oh my God, actually.
Yeah, because you were beating
the
shit out of me.
No, I didn't. I was holding my space fucking perfectly. Thank you very much.
Anyway, I went about like 2 meters across onto the floor, like did a big jump and went, oh. Anyway, the umpire was literally like, I don't even know what that was. Play on. And we ended up getting the ball back, which was great.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who to believe because, goalers, they're pretty always getting
They're so
around the
dirty.
rules with the umpires. They are so
100%.
dirty, but they never get called up. So
Yeah, they
I don't
never
know who
do.
to believe.
Oh, you defenders make me sick.
Yeah. Two
Yeah,
hands on the
get-
ball.
get
Who
out.
cares what else happens?
Get out of here.
If I came across your body and you're currently like hanging in the net, that's not my problem. I got two hands on the ball.
I agree.
That's legit how I play. Like, yep, I'm gonna. Yeah, you're gonna get hit.
You are one of my favorite defenders to play
Oh.
against because okay,
Here we
you
go.
should see
Oh, I don't know.
Luke's grin. Oh, okay.
Because it's so easy.
No, but you're one of my favorite defenders, and we'll get onto the dimes in a sec. But you're one of my favorite defenders only because your physicality and how you hold makes it really difficult for me to like try and like actually guard my space and like
Yeah.
So and then honestly, when you were hunting for the ball, I was like, stop hunting for the fucking ball.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, yeah, like let's pass it. And the moment you see it, you're out. I'm like,
Yeah.
stop, because like Luke just gets in the passing lane. Stop. Like just pass it to me and just trust that I'll get the ball. And I
Put
did.
that on my
and I did.
resume.
I mean, yeah,
I'll just. Can I have this as a soundbite?
Yeah.
And it'll just be like on my Instagram.
You can send it to the USC Thunder. Guys. Be like, just letting you know that
This is my
actually.
audition tape for M League. That's what it is.
Yeah, that I said something positive about you.
No, we do. I really want to get a team together though, and we're gonna have like the best outfits. I'll see if I can get Junior. Surely Junior wants to come up.
Yeah,
to play
Junior,
M-League.
I know you're listening. We'll
You
get
do have a full-time job, but like, just leave that alone.
Yeah, yeah, just give it up.
work from home in Queensland. Anyway, what were we
shit.
even talking about?
We were going to go on to the Diamonds and the Diamonds Development Squad
Sorry.
announcements. That's okay.
People are
sorry.
just like, what on earth?
Well, yeah, they literally just listened to 5 minutes of us whinging at each other about how much we flop on the court. Anyway, so
Yeah, read out the team.
okay, so
No.
now I'm going to start with. Do we want to talk? I'll announce the team and then we talk about that, or do we want to do both and then we can sort of discuss it? As
No,
a whole?
announce the squad first,
Okay.
and then we'll deal with the development squad after that.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Origin Australian Diamond squad is Jess Anstis, Sunday Aryang, Kira Austin, Caitlin Bassett, Ash Brazel, Courtney Bruce, Gretel Buetta, Verity Charles, Sophie Garden, Paige Hadley, Kimberly Jenner, Sarah Clow, Cara Conan, Kate Maloney, Amy Parmenter, Jamie Lee Price, Maddie Proud, Maddie Turner, Liz Watson, Joe Weston, and Steph Wood. Where do we want to start?
Abs, you can start because
Yes.
we've just been talking shit for however long.
Well, the first thing that I noticed was how big the squad was at 21, which I sort of guess it needs to be because there's a couple in there that are injured. So, you know, you've got to probably include them, but they won't necessarily be playing with Kira Austin and Liz Watson. There's a couple in there that I find a little bit surprising. And there's a couple that are not in there that I find surprising, and I think everyone's on the same page as me, and it's not just everyone as in you two, but everyone in general. I'm really surprised not to see Rav or Kelsey Brown in there.
Mm.
I was surprised not to see April, but then after reading it, obviously, she didn't put her hand up.
And just to be clear, sorry, we should be clear. Both of those players did put their hand up for that.
Kelsey and
Yeah.
Rav?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they should. I think they've had great seasons. They've obviously both been part of the Diamonds for a very long time, or for however long it has been. So, yeah, I'm really surprised not to see those two in there. I don't know what else you want me to say. I don't know if I can say too much else without sounding too mean.
Whoa.
That's.
Oh.
Abs
I
has
think
some-
that's a good segue for my opinion.
Abs has some opinions which may or may not be shared by Luke. Luke, what do you think?
Okay,
you
look.
tell them our opinion without me saying.
Yeah. Look, I think we have to be realistic. This is the biggest problem I have. One of the biggest problems I have with netball is, as a sport, we really like to hide away from controversy. We really like to bury our head in the sand and not deal with stuff that is important and people want to hear a response about. I think obviously it's no secret that Stacey Marinkovic is the head coach of the Fever. It's no secret that Emma Kosh is the only player that was not included in the Diamond squad or the development squad that was available from Fever. I think if we want to evolve as a sport, we really have to take ownership of being transparent and open about issues of selection, and I guess really anything to do with the sport. Obviously, the mid-court was overly crowded. I think there was 32 players that play SSN that could have was available for selection for the mid-court. So mid-court is always going to be our hardest one to select.
It's also the only one that doesn't really have a lot of imports, if any. So they really are Australians playing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it makes it really difficult when you've got in this case, they've got an extended squad, but it's got to be really difficult to pick. And it's going to be incredibly difficult to pick who to put on the court in that final group. I think it's 15 players that they're picking for Constellation, with 12 and then 3 as if someone gets COVID and goes down, they can replace them.
Yeah.
But I think as a sport, what I really would have loved to see, and I think Kelly's done an exceptional job, but I really feel like Stacey should have been on the front foot. And just been open and transparent and went, these are the internal control processes that we have in place that prevent me from selecting Viva players in the Diamond squad over and above everyone else. And I think...
But she hasn't she? You said the only player missing from the Fever that's available is Emma Kosh.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying she hasn't actually come out and said...
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Sorry,
I got confused. Yeah, she hasn't actually come out and said, this is the process we go through. And I think one of the biggest things that netball also does really badly is it doesn't give people an insight into those decision-making processes. So, for example, there's no way that there's not going to be controversy. She could have picked, people have spoken about on social media, Jess Ansis and Verity Charles. It wouldn't really matter who from the Fever was on that squad. If she had picked Glasgow, it would have been exactly the same storyline. So I think, at the end of the day, Netball Australia have to go on the front foot and be like, hey, let's actually do some video work of what goes into the selection process. Let's be very clear about what internal controls we have so that Stacey can't just pick her pet favourites. And I think that would have really given, I guess, the netball public a better insight into how they selected this team and why they selected this team. Because I think based on... Based on the season that we've had, there's no way in my mind, if I'm a selector, that Rav and Kelsey are not in that team.
Didn't Anne Sargent do an article with Netball Scoop about how the selection process occurs? Do you think that was their way of getting around that? We told you how it happened.
I know, but I would have preferred, honestly, some sort of, video. Here I am telling Netball Australia what I would have preferred, but I think from a marketing perspective and quelling these issues is actually releasing that video, maybe a few hours before they actually release the team, with talking about the process that's in place and facing up to it. Because I think the biggest thing is they haven't really faced up to it. By getting Anne Sargent to do the article with Netball Scoop, they're really trying to sidestep it, and they're not actually dealing with it head on. That's
exactly why they've done it, surely.
Yeah, but I think you just need to Stacey, I've spoken to her heaps of times, and there's absolutely no reason why she couldn't answer those questions. And I think if she did that, I think that people just wouldn't care as much as they do.
I think it's interesting, and this is not a dig at Netball Scoop or Netball Post or any of our written word, places that do excellent work. Shout out to all of those. But in this day and age, in terms of media consumption, right, video, to be honest, works better because people attach themselves to that and they can see it. It's a visual, they connect with it because 100%. It's insight, right? And having seen other leagues and worked with other leagues and stuff in terms of behind the scenes stuff about how umpires and referees operate and all that sort of thing, this is one of those things that you can actually give an insight into to fans new and old about the selection of an international team. What's the draft board look like, that sort of thing. Because I know a lot of leagues I'm fairly sure like the AFL does something similar in terms of like when they have like their draft night, they have like a little like 1 or 2 minute piece that goes, all right, this is our draft board, this is who we're targeting, this is what we like. These are the holes in the in the Diamonds perspective. This like we really struggled in the mid court. So how do we adjust that? Because if Liz Watson can't play, what's that replacement? So on and so forth. And I think for me personally, I would agree with that, Luke, because and look, full disclosure, I haven't read the Sargent article on NS.
No, neither have I.
And I will, because that actually sounds pretty fascinating, the fact that there is some sort of clarification there. But I think given, and it may be budgetary, I don't know, but given the fact that if you actually allowed people to come in and shoot, and it doesn't have to be 15 minutes. It can literally be 3 to 5 minutes, right? Of just how Stace goes in and goes, all right, so these are where I think the deficiencies are, and this is where our strengths are. So easily, Seabass, boom, right? Steph Wood, boom. Tried and true method for the Diamonds. Of course, we're going to select him. Kels and Rav, okay, injury cloud for Kels. I understand that, but she's had a phenomenal season. She's proven her health. This is why we select her, or this is why we don't, or whatever.
Yeah, but to be fair for that, but this is what I'm talking about. Is like we were quite critical of Kelsey and her timing to the circle earlier in the season.
Yeah. I think we have been for the majority of the season too.
Yeah, and I think that clarification is what people want. I think this idea of that the vast majority of people who watch SSN or love Diamonds is team girls and everything is just happy bullshit is not true. Like, people want to know why these players aren't in the team and why you make those decisions.
Yeah. Off the topic of, I guess, the controversy of the actual like selections and stuff, Abs, I'll get your opinion first. How do you feel about the actual selections for the Diamond squad?
Well, I think they've, based on the fact that they've picked 21, I think they've got 15 people or girls that should be in that Constellation Cup squad. So I think in regards to that, I don't think, aside from the two we've already mentioned, and obviously April, who didn't put her hand up, I don't think they've missed anyone. I think the squad is as large as it is so that they could get those people that they wanted into it. But in terms of the actual selection of the squad, they've got the base there that they need, like the Sarah Clouds, like the Cara Conan, they're all there. So they, aside from those two that they missed, I don't think they've missed anybody else.
Yeah, I that's the same vibe that I go. I look at this side, and obviously, aside from the fact that Kelson Ravi probably should be in here, for me, this is a great looking side, really. My only concern really is the fact that obviously with the whole, with COVID and stuff, and the fact that things are moving around and players are still currently playing, what if fatigue comes into play, and how I'm very curious to see what the Diamonds program does to manage the mental health of these players, right? Because
absolutely,
I feel like there is sort of murmurs, I guess, from like players and clubs and stuff, of players just being fatigued mentally by the fact that they've had to state hop for half the season, and then they're hubbing again, and then they're hubbing somewhere else. And, I do wonder what that sort of, what the program actually is doing to ensure that their players are actually well looked after. But in saying that, I actually really rate the side. I think this is a really, really exciting side to see go up against New Zealand. Luke, how do you feel?
Look, I think it's going to be very interesting to see who doesn't make that 15. I think, and again, there is this potential for a further fever problem with this whole situation. If, certain players are left out of that squad. One of the things that I haven't spoken about is the reason why I think it's important for that video, as we spoke previously, is obviously Fever, being over the salary cap previously. And you now have the Diamonds coach picking players. I think the reason for having that transparency also allays fears of, have, some of the Fever players, are they being paid with Diamonds money to offset contracts with Fever? Because it kind of creates this vacuum of like, where does that rabbit hole go? And I think by sort of addressing it, it sort of allays those fears. But it'll be interesting to see who actually gets selected. And I think, for me, there's kind of some big names that sort of I feel like are going to get selected regardless. But it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. Because the other thing, there's been some players where I've wanted them to be selected in the Diamonds for ages. And it isn't until I got closer to the sport that I realized there were several reasons why they didn't get selected. It could be that they didn't gel well with people. It could be that they gelled too well with one particular person. And if that person got injured, then, they're going to struggle to perform on the stage with another, goal defense or goalkeeper or whoever. And all of that stuff comes into it. And we don't see any of that, which again, NA would love to see what goes into that pot so that we can understand these decisions because, I think they are going to struggle against, especially Grace and Tuiava, who, if anyone watched that ANZ final.
Oh, they look unstoppable.
They were outstanding.
Holy crapola. And then you got Karen Berger, who's turning so much ball over on, such a great attack end. It's just, if you're the Diamonds, you're just like, because you don't have timeouts, you don't have super shots, and you don't have rolling subs.
Different ball game. It's a different ball game completely. So,
almost
and I
a
think that's
different
my
game.
concern too. Yeah, that's my concern too. Who is actually going to make this squad of 15? And can they compete with New Zealand? Because if you think about the New Zealanders, like back in ANZ days when, and this is no disrespect to those teams, but, when we used to travel over to New Zealand to play in the ANZ days, like, we knew that the games were not going to be as tough as the ones we play back in Australia because they didn't
100%.
train at the same. They didn't train like we did, but they do now. Like Nolene and the coaches over there now.
Remember that ball speed? That ball speed was so slow.
Yeah, so slow. But now they're training.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I never fucking took it off. Someone did, but it wasn't me.
But how fit? This is the thing. Is like even the players on the bench. Their fitness level has gone through the roof and the ball speed has gone way up. That was the biggest thing I noticed from ANZ this season is I think we spoke about it last season that it had increased. I feel like this season it has almost solidified at a certain level and then gone through the roof.
Yeah. That's
so we're not playing against those athletes anymore. We're playing against a different type of New Zealand, and it's scary, exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah, it is incredibly exciting. Now, no, what were you going to say?
Sorry. I was just going to say, as I've said before, I feel like this is going to be the decade of the Ferns.
Yeah.
You have to.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Feels like it. But speaking of exciting, we want to talk about the development squad as well. So this is the Australian development squad announced alongside the Origin Diamonds, which is Mahalia Cassidy, Lara Dunkley, Tipper Dwan, Sophie Dwyer, Kate Eddy, Rudy Ellis, Matilda Garrett, Sasha Glasgow, Maddie Hay, Tara Hinchcliffe, Georgie Horges, Olivia Lewis, Emily Mannix, Tilly McDonald, Gemma Maimai, Lauren Moore, Hannah Mundy, Maisie Nankerville, and Alice T. Neild. Luke, let's start. How do you feel about this dev squad?
If Fraser's not included, is she?
No.
Which I
Omission,
think is
yes.
kind of insane. Unless she is like, I don't know, throwing Gatorade bottles out the back and punching people.
I was going to say, like that's
doing that.
that's a side of Taylor Fraser I've not heard of. So.
Well, this is some clarity on that decision. I don't know if they just like someone posted it all, and then all the comments were like, "Where's Taylor?" And everyone's like, "Oh fuck, we left her off." Like, oops.
Yeah. Like, oh shit.
I don't know. Is she like playing at is she on the Olympic team for like hockey of some sort? I don't know what's going on. But it is interesting to me. And obviously it depends on positions play a huge part, obviously. But I think for someone who has played a lot of minutes this season, for, her age and her experience, to not be included is interesting. Dwyer is the other one that did we say Sophie Dwyer?
Yes.
Oh, okay, we did. Sorry. Yeah. My bad. Here I am trying to correct you and you said it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because she had like an asterisk over her, didn't she? Because she's kind of
she's going to well, I think she's been invited down to the actual camp. I think.
Yeah, I think she...
That's right, she was a camp invitee.
Yeah. So if she does really well and destroys them all, then she potentially gets on the team. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think she will. So when was it? Whenever they had a camp a year or so ago, she went down as a training partner. And this was before she was in Giants, before anyone really knew anything about her. And I think everyone walked away from that camp, like players included, saying, who the hell was that kid?
Yeah,
like,
wow.
He actually went down there and absolutely smoked them. I mean, like, not necessarily smoked them was amazing better than them, but, like, absolutely killed it. She did an amazing job. So I'm surprised to not see her name in... No, probably not, actually. I won't make that comment.
How much has Sophie Dwyer paid you to say this?
I like Sophie Dwyer. She's actually a nice kid as well. So,
well, not only that, she's going to have a big free agency.
Yeah, well, she can't. Well, somebody needs to go from the Giants. They both can't sit there because they both should be
but
playing.
Also, Vixens are like, hey, we need a goal.
Or Lightning, who knows?
Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Or Lightning, who knows?
Who knows?
Or Firebirds.
Look, honestly, I think just looking at this development squad, I really like it. It's a lot of exciting young players there that are obviously going to get the opportunity to really test their mettle in sort of camp and playing alongside one another. I think, yeah, I don't know. There's not much else for me to say. I think these are all pretty standouts here. I'm curious to see, the Sophie Dwyer sort of comment, I guess, Abs, about whether she actually does get the elevation in some capacity, just in case, because she has proven that she actually has range as well. So if the Ferns defense wants to force her wide, she should be able to handle that pretty well.
So here's a question. We have the Constellation Cup. There's also rumours apparently about England sending a team over and potentially having games against New Zealand and potentially Australia here. If COVID craps all over that, which is a potential issue, I think what would be a really cool tournament would be Diamonds 21s, because 21s, the World Cup team, they've literally had their World Cup cancelled.
Yeah.
Australia A, I think we need to bring back the Australia A team, which would be all those players.
Yeah.
And then men's.
Basically, you're saying an internal tournament.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's exciting. That's what that's I think as an alternative. I think that's an incredibly exciting. I mean, they should just do that in general, really.
Well, they should. I believe they should do that in general. But I think potentially the problem you've got the gaming. Is it Cairns and Brisbane?
Yes.
If they sell out, because it's Diamonds, that stuff sells out, and that stuff sells out quickly because it's the best of the best. Why wouldn't you throw that out there?
Sorry, I was just trying to look at where the things are. I thought Abs was going to dive in and be like, I agree.
Well, I agree. I thought it was rhetorical. I mean, all in agreement. I think they need to get games in if they can. If the games that they're planning cannot happen for whatever, well, not for whatever reason, for COVID reasons, then they need to get some games in.
Yeah, so you're right. So Wednesday, the 13th of October, at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, and then at Cairns Convention Centre on Sunday the 17th of October, and then there'll be play out of New Zealand, which probably won't happen. Well, maybe, who knows.
Who wouldn't love to see Eugene Lee against Diamonds and his crew? That'd be great.
That's awesome. But what a good idea.
And then maybe Nick will get. Then when they can pull Nick in.
Nick? Who? Nicolas Cage? Not me. Fuck no. I'm gonna get selected. But yeah, all right, cool.
He'll be a training partner. I'd actually pay
Nick,
for that.
stand there.
Funny.
Stand there. We're going to call you traffic cone for the rest of the day. All right, let's go. Let's move on to our SSN news, well, not news, but our discussion around the semi-finals coming up tomorrow, which sees, and we're going to start with this one, the Giants and the Swifts. They're not playing at home. They're playing at Nissan Arena. So, yay, at Queensland. How do we reckon this one's going to fold out? Abs, we'll start with you. Obviously, the Swifts are technically playing away, but they're playing the minor prems in the Giants. Congratulations to the Giants as well, with a huge minor premiership win and a huge win over the Fever last weekend as well. But, Abs, how do you think this one shakes out?
Yeah, I think this will be close, which is exciting, and so it should be now that we're in finals. I would love to see it go to extra time with the with the Swifts obviously becoming the winners at the end of the game. But I think the Giants will roll into this game feeling pretty confident. Everything that I've heard is that they're pretty nervous. You know, they've got a relatively young team that haven't played in a final situation like this before, especially in some key positions such as the Sophie Dwyers and the Maddie Hayes at wing attack. Like, that's two very important players up there attacking end that have never played on a stage like this before and will potentially go into this game feeling quite nervous, whereas you look at the Swifts and they've all done it before. They've played at this level, they've won a grand final, and they know exactly what to expect. So I think it'll be a good game. It'll be nice and tight, but the Swifts, because of their experience, will get across the line.
Yeah, that feels definitely like the Swifts. Obviously, given the fact that they're champions, they've been forged in the fire really of having that run in 2019, and also the last couple of years of being like a formidable, well-oiled machine. I think the Giants, the fact that the Giants can be a little bit more prone to the heartbeat sort of thing, where sometimes they peak really high and sometimes they dip really, really low. It'll be curious to see how they manage that. I think they did a phenomenal job against the Fever last week, but I think for me, looking at how the Swifts have been playing, and I think, Abs, you sort of summed it up, I think probably the last episode that we recorded, the Swifts really are finding like a little bit more of it, like a stability within the squad now that kind of, I think, a lot of the drama between what was going, like with Bryony over in quarantine and then obviously all the teams moving and stuff, they've got out of that. I think both teams have actually gotten out of the funk, really. I think, Abs, you also brought up the fact that the Giants got into their funk early on in the season and they've hit their stride now. I think both teams have kind of hit their stride at the perfect time, so this one's going to be I feel like it's going to be close. I don't think like it's going to be a blowout. I think it could be razor thin.
Yeah, both of their games that they played this season have been relatively close. I think the 2-point shot is going to be big for Giants. They shot 43% in round 6 and lost, and then shot 56% and won in round 11.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much what they do. To be fair though, I definitely think in the last few rounds they've been a lot more measured in the fact that they haven't been going as hard, I think. Giants?
Looking for them.
Yeah, it's been a lot more measured. There's no mass amount of turnovers. But, I agree. I'm going Swifts. I think it will be interesting because I potentially see that Swifts could go straight through to the final. And then Giants, I feel like they could potentially beat whoever
goes into the prelims. If they get dipped to the prelims, they win the prelims, and it's a rematch.
Yep.
It's going to be a Giants with
Abs. If let's say that you're on the scouting staff for the Giants going into tomorrow's game, what weaknesses do you identify in the Swifts?
Well, I think an extremely important matchup is going to be goal attack, goal defence for April on Helen. I think Helen hasn't had her best season this year, but she turned up to play last week, and she, I think, had her best game of the season last 100%. Weekend, which is obviously she's peaked right at the right time. If it wasn't, just a one-off and she's ready to play again tomorrow. So I think that's going to be super crucial. I think normally you would probably say Sarah versus Joe Harton would be a big one, but I don't think that's going to play too much of a impact in the game, to be honest, because I think the two of them get very frustrated very easily, like both of them, and they could potentially just nullify each other, and it could come to a shootout between the two goal attacks. So, so if I had to pick two positions that were really important that I'd be focusing on particularly, if I was the Giants looking at Swift, or I'd be looking at Helen, and I'd probably be looking at whoever's playing centre, because whoever plays centre has to play against Jamie Lee Price, and Jamie is big, she's strong, and the Swifts don't have somebody like that.
Yeah. If
Jamie could really do some damage through the middle. Whoever plays wing attack for the Swifts, Amy Parmenter's fast, she can cover them with speed, so whoever plays there is going to have to play super smart. And whoever plays wing defence for the Swifts will need to turn up and play, because Maddie Hay has been having an excellent season, just going about her business unfazed by anything. So whether it's Lauren or Taylor, they need to actually turn up and have an excellent game.
So if you're Julie Fitzgerald and you obviously have quite like you've got Sophie Dwyer who's like had a full season now to kind of relax into the role, what's your key message to that so they don't like not getting too ahead of themselves? Obviously, minor premiership, it's like it's a huge win. They're coming off the back of beating a Fever side that's really been formidable all season. But what's the message that you'd be sending to your players as they go into kind of? I guess this is a huge game, really.
Huge, especially as I said earlier for quite a few of them that have never been in a position like this before at this level. I think, and I'm sure that Julie's done this throughout the week, I think she probably would have had some of their ex-players that have played at a level like this before, like Kim Green and Pratt, potentially have them have a conversation with the girls about, you know, how important their club is and, you know, where they've come from and how to handle this sort of situation. And if they haven't, I would suggest that that's something that will probably come in the coming weeks. But from my point of view, if I was the coaching Giants this weekend, I would just try and keep everything as same as usual. Yeah. I've watched teams in the past, not necessarily at SSN level, but various levels from grassroots all the way through, that they've made a final and everything's changed in the week leading up to that. They need to keep a routine and they need to keep everything as similar as possible. They can do that. They'll go into the game tomorrow, or if they have done that, they will go into the game tomorrow knowing exactly what they need to do, and they will run the same game plan that they ran last week against Fever. Because the way you'll beat the Swifts is to hang on to the ball.
There you go.
So I guess I didn't really answer your question at all. Like, I don't know what I would actually say to them in the change room beforehand, because when I usually have those conversations, they're usually like, I don't plan them. I just sort of.
It is like heat of the moment sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're the more authentic conversations you can have with your players, and that's when you'll show, you know, how much you actually care about them and what the team's achieving. And, you know, Julie's been around for a very long time, and she will know that. She's been very successful, and so players obviously play for her, and she'll know exactly what she needs to say to each and every one of them as an individual.
I think the other thing that's crucial for Giants is Joe. As much as you said that matchup is not going to be, like, they're going to cancel each other out, totally agree. But I feel like a lot of it comes through Joe Harton and how she's feeling. If she's having a bad first quarter, it can kind of sink the Giants a bit. Yeah. So I think Julie really has to, you know, push Joe to really just go for it.
Yeah.
Not get
because Joe and Sarah can cancel each other out, and Joe can still play well. And the way she does that is by getting Sophie into the game. And she has been doing that not all the time, but she can do that. When she gets up and about for Sophie, she's doing her job.
Yeah. I've just got this
that
image.
Makes sense. If that makes sense.
I've got this image of Abs going into the halftime and just screaming ball side over and over again.
Ball side. Ball side options.
That is a comment I sometimes use with my under 13, but I'm lucky enough I don't have to yell that too much at my 23. So hopefully doesn't need to yell.
Get on.
Obviously, just before we go on to the Fever Lightning, just obviously April Brandley and Tilly McDonald are also in the team list for this as well, so they're actually confirmed active and playing because they were out last week. So we're going to move on to the West Coast Fever hosting, saying quotes, the Sunshine Coast Lightning. Steph Wood is a big in. Binny and Hunt is out. Luke, I kind of want to get your thoughts on this one. Obviously, Steph Wood coming back is a huge get for the Lightning, but the Fever coming off a pretty significant loss to the Giants in terms of just like ladder positioning and stuff. How are you feeling, I guess, for both of these teams?
Well, it's interesting because Sunny Coast beat Fever the last time they played, which is funny because when someone said that to me, I was like, oh, fuck, did they? I know that sounds funny, but I'm just like, oh, yeah, they did. And then I remembered the game. Remember it was in WA. Remember they had that quarantine. They had to quarantine like the whole time they were there. Yeah. They couldn't like leave and stuff. Look, I think... Look, it's interesting. Sunny Coast have the ability. They've clearly shown that this season by beating Fever. They can do it. To me, it really just comes down to belief. If they believe they can do it, then they will. Yeah. I mean, if you want
Are
to
you
stay,
Kylie Byrne right now?
if you want to stay in the competition, you're going to have to beat Fever at some stage.
Yeah.
They've obviously done it before.
At home too, like you said, they did it at RAC, which is a huge W. That's a big W.
Yeah, I think obviously last game not having Steph, and then the game before that having Steph injured. It's not the best prep for them, but in the same token, it's kind of like good prep because I think the last game especially, Kara having to step up and hit super shots, like they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't play well.
The Lightning get my stinky.
It was scrappy.
My stinky sticker for the week.
Yeah, it was scrappy, but then they came back in the end and pulled something together. It was kind of like sticky tape together, and made it work, which is kind of what they do, really. Yeah. Like, let's be honest, they kind of just make it work with whatever players they have and whatever system that they're going with that day. But yeah, no, I think they can do it, and I think if you're Fever, you know that, and I think it'll be interesting because I feel like, I feel like it really comes down to Steph Wood. I think and Sherian, it always does, in my opinion, for this matchup because Francis is so physical. Sunday's having a great season, and she's been really clean. I think Cara Conan does quite well on Bruce.
I think Cara handles Bruce's physicality quite well, and I think also I think one of the things, and we've seen it in the past as well with Fever wins over the Lightning, is that they do. I don't want to say resort because for the most part they're just a very physical team, and oppositions don't sometimes manage it really, really well, and sometimes they don't. And also, it can also fall to the umpires not managing the game properly either, which we've seen in the past, and not just limited to the Fever. It's all that also applies to other physical teams, right?
I think it's interesting though because as they move through the season, they sort of adjust umpires and basically pick a group to move into finals and that sort of thing. Yeah. I think Fever will be more than aware that. They have to be careful about how they approach it. And I think we saw that last game that Fever lost where Bruce, at one point was taken off the court. Well, no, sorry, they pulled Sunday off and they put Bruce to goal defense. But I don't think, did they end up? Oh, I don't remember.
Shit, yeah, I can't remember, sorry.
But anyway, there was definitely problems in that defensive end. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But I'm going to go Sunny Coast because hello. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Fever win too. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm hoping it's a really good game.
I'm hoping it's not a blowout, but I'm feeling that Fever a win for the Fever here. I don't know if you would agree with that, Abs.
Based on the Lightning season this year, they usually have a shitty game and they have a fantastic game.
Yeah. And
considering the fact that they've just had a shitty game, I'm envisioning that they get up and they get a win.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to win. I do. I think that they will pull it out and they will get the job done. And I agree very much so about the Cara Conan comment that you made. She really had to step up last week, and I think she did a pretty serviceable job, all things considered.
100%.
Yeah, she got a lot of attention too. So she was pulling in ball and she was popping them in and just doing her job with her big smile on her face after she gets a knock or scores a goal, which I love. So having Steph back will obviously boost that confidence. Plus, having Steph back is not just boosting confidence for Cara, but it will boost confidence for the rest of the team too. Yeah. So I think they're going to win.
Wow.
I think the Lightning are going to win.
You will eat crow when the West Coast Fever win.
Well, the interesting thing, I think in SSN history, it's usually the team that wins this matchup that wins the final. I think the only exception was Vixens last year. They usually go on to win.
Yes.
Because they got that weird break.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really understand. It really, I know this sounds stupid, but for final series, it should be 3 games per series, just quietly, I think.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, sure.
3-game series, and I think it should be 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Abs hates that idea.
No, I don't hate it. Just think about it.
Yeah, and I think it should be 3 games.
I would like to see a multiple series, like multiple game series.
Because, like, can you imagine how I feel like from a coaching perspective of, you know, they put one brand of netball out. We always love to say brand. You know, you put that out there, you review the tape, you come back the next game, and, you know, it's another level.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like advanced sort of scouting reports. I mean, that's why, like, it's...
I mean, we do it for Constellation Cup and stuff like that, so I just don't see why we couldn't do it for a final series.
Yeah.
And, like, who doesn't want ticket revenue? Soz, I don't understand.
I mean, it does make sense, I guess, but I would also be a little bit more cautious of like performance as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're winning the 3-game series, right, it's because your performance is better, right? You're able to sustain a performance for 3 games. So I'd be curious to see how they do that though, right? Because if it's a 3-game series, you put it on in the midweeks because you may not get as many crowds to a midweek, or it'd be interesting in terms of that structure and how they would approach that, to be completely honest.
Oh, you could do a Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah, Thursday, Sunday. Or actually, no, probably not a Friday because you'd be clashing with it.
Well, how do they do it in the basketball?
What, in
They
Australia?
play every second day, don't they?
Every second day for series. Yeah, well,
okay.
Which is...
No, I mean the Australian one, not NBA.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure. I'm fairly sure it's week to week. I didn't watch the NBA.
Yeah, see, let's do week to week. Why not?
I mean,
how cool would that be? You'd get invested. I'd get invested.
I think so. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, talking from like a merch perspective as well, you could like really promote like your finals, like your, you know,
Here
how
we
like
are,
you know, like
money for the league,
Swift,
Kelly,
you know, hashtag Swift defeat or something.
How cool would it be if you had like Swift's t-shirts or West Coast Fever or even Lightning, where it was Lightning Gold, lol, but like the Suncorp Super Netball Gold, like you could have finals tees. I know Sunny Coast did have finals tees the year that they lost.
They lost, because there was a strike thrice because they were looking to go, and they didn't. That was when you wore that shirt. I remember that.
I know. I cursed it.
You cursed the franchise.
I did.
I hope, you know, and then they hired you.
They're in finals again.
Cool. All right. So we've got our tips. So we've got all of us are going for the Swifts tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I've got the Fever after because the games. So just so everyone knows on your schedule. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. the Giants are playing the Swifts, and then after that game at 3 p.m. the Fever are playing the Lightning.
Where were you? So, like Nick, like where you were born, what is the closest team to that area?
Abs, what's closest to Penrith? Is it GWS or
Sydney, South Wales? Damn.
So technically should be a Giants fan.
When you have lived your life, where?
Okay, so the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, we did it.
Hey, look,
we got that.
From the Rick, hey?
Yeah, it's fucking ripping on them.
Yeah,
I guess he's playing devil's advocate.
Foot of the mountain here. I'm playing devil's advocate, but also like again the Fever point stocking aside, are the top team in the league this season. So you know, they again coming off a loss.
Point stocking aside,
well, they just have point stocked, right?
Salary cap thing.
Enough. We're not going to go into it. All right, we've heard enough of the fucking salary cap. Cool. So 1 p.m. for the Giants and the Swifts, and 3 p.m. for the Fever and the Lightning. I've got the Fever, and both of you to have the Lightning in this one. It's going to be a really, really exciting weekend for semi-finals netball. But that will do us for this week. As always, you can get us on facebook.com/the Goal Circle. Come and chat with us. We've been sharing all this other cool shit and stuff.
Have we?
I haven't really been sharing it as much, to be honest. I shared a really cool thing actually while we were recording, which was the West... Okay, you know, whatever. I shared a West Coast people were training in one of their dresses that was designed by a fan. It was really cool, I shared that one. That was a very cool post. And we've obviously... we're on Twitter as well. You can get us at BLT_86 for Luke, at Bleekster, BLEEKSTER for me, and at Abby_McCulloch. Again, as we always say, Abs will get back to you in 3 to 5 business days.
Somebody from the UK sent me a tweet on sometime this week wanting to do an interview about Olympics being from the BBC, maybe in the UK. And then, by the time I got back to him, I said, because he apologised. He got my email. He sent me an email. I got back to him, and he was apologising about bombarding me on social media. And I wrote back saying, I didn't even notice the bombardment because I don't really check my Twitter very often. So it's all good.
Oh, my God. We need to get you a manager.
I know. Come on. But I didn't end up doing...
We're technically.
I didn't do the interview.
We're gonna you'll be the next commentator on Fox. Boom, boom. Send in the
get me on. Let's go.
Yeah, let's have a chat with Fox. Fox, if you're listening, Abs.
Yep. And we'll just
Great.
get 10%.
Forge
10%?
forge through fire of the goal circle. Here.
Yes.
You know, this is huge. So we'll get it
Yeah.
done. You can also get us on email, thegoalcircle@gmail.com, if you want to send us an old cheeky email.
Honestly, if you can put up with us most weeks, then you could probably work
yeah,
the box.
yeah, it's like putting up with
Like
Luke
legit,
and I.
what on earth could you have you not heard? Like you are ready for anything.
Because like Luke and I are the kind of people when we walk into the room in the post games and stuff, it's like, oh, here we go, these two.
Yeah, yeah. Legit. They're like, oh shit. Richo's like,
fuck's sake.
oh god, this guy again. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
great. It's great. You know, we've got a great reputation within the league. So you know, thanks for dealing with us, SSN. We appreciate it. But anyway, that will do us for this week. Please enjoy your weekend. If you get a chance, please grab some tickets to the games this weekend. I know it's 50% capacity. I don't know where the ticket sales are at, but if you can, go and watch some netball. Like, it's sports back. We're very lucky to be able to go and see the sport, and it's not behind closed doors or anything like that. So if you get an opportunity, please go and watch the games. We will be there. So if you do see us, come and give us a shout.
Oh my god, yes.
Make sure you identify us correctly. So Luke is Luke and I am me. Abby won't be there, unfortunately, but
Lol.
Damn it.
one day Abs.
No,
one day
just
Abs
just say Nick. Like, it's hilarious.
No, don't do that.
That's so funny.
No, Luke's the face of the show. I'm the,
What?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, no, Luke's the face.
No.
Well,
Let's make
Abs
that very clear.
should be the face, actually.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she owns us.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
We work for her.
Shit. Anyway, enjoy your weekends. Enjoy your weekends netball, everyone, and we'll catch you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.